I knew I wanted to be an NBA or sideline reporter since I was 16 years old. People don't know that you can get passionate about something else. God forbid we're multifaceted human beings that have other interests than just playing one thing. I've always liked storytelling, and I've always loved basketball, so let's marry the two. The best transitions happen when you're still an athlete. You use basketball, don't let basketball use you. Athletes don't know the next step after they're done playing.
How can you?
Welcome, my name is Warren Ward. I am here today with Savanna Hamilton, a Canadian media personality, producer, and sideline reporter for the Toronto Raptors. She's born in Mississauga, Ontario. She is one of Canada's first on-air Black female sports personalities. She attended the University of Ryerson, known now as TMU. She is a former OUA provincial champion and the host of many various shows, including Swish Inside the NBA and Raptors Today.
What was this? 2018, I stopped hooping. I go to, Akil asked me to come on the hangout, and there's Little Savvy.
Little Savvy.
Little Savvy.
Young Sav.
Young Sav. Young Savage.
Young Savage, yep.
Yeah, Young Sav producing. And I'm like, I remember you. Like, I remember playing, and there you were. And then years later, you're now doing sideline for the Toronto Raptors. Like, it's been a long... I saw you start there and where you are now. The second Black female to ever do that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So pretty impressive. So I guess we'll start off with our first question.
Okay.
And can you share the story of how you got involved in basketball?
In basketball, like as a player?
Both.
Oof. It's a long story. Good thing we got a podcast.
We got time.
We got time. So the place, I got involved with basketball through my family.
Okay.
My aunt, she played professionally. I actually have two aunts that play professionally, but one really had a really great career. She even got some WNBA workouts and tryouts, but the WNBA, like, it came too late. Like,
right.
She was towards the tail end of her career when she was like playing a little bit with, I believe it was Houston, and then she played a little bit with LA and stuff like that.
Did you play overseas?
She played all her majority of the career was overseas.
Where?
Everywhere. Like, you name it. Like, she was there. Like, literally Sweden, Italy. I think she was in Spain. She knew how to speak multiple languages, and apparently she was amazing.
Oh, wow.
And then the WNBA came just a little bit too late because she was kind of getting out of basketball at that time. But she was giving back to the community already, and she was like, she opened up this program called Home Court Basketball, and that's where I learned how to shoot. Like, that's where me and my twin sister, we would go learn how to play basketball there. And then from there, so that was like 7 years old.
I was about to ask, when did you start doing that?
Yeah, I was like 7 years old. And then,
here in Toronto?
No, that was out in Oakville, but I was living in Mississauga. And then from there, just kind of always had a ball in my hand. Eventually got into organized sports around grade 7. My dad really pushed us pretty hard, actually, honestly. But it paid off because we both played post-secondary. My twin got a scholarship to Alabama. I had a few D1 offers, but I chose to stay in Toronto for the media program at TMU. As well as the fact that, I felt like a good fit with the coach really wanted me, everything like that. So that's kind of how like the whole story unfolded with that. On the media side of things,
Get to that.
okay, we can get to that. Okay, yeah. Hey, you said both. You said everything. I was like, what do you want? Like, where do you want to start? Like,
No, we'll get to that. You mentioned your father, and you talked to me on phone a while back about the relationship with him.
Yeah.
What was that like? And you told me he was hard on you. So talk about that.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because like a lot of the best athletes and their stories, especially when their dad was like a coach to them, you hear it with Jamal Murray and how hard his dad pushed him. Yeah. The whole teacup story. It was never that extreme. But like I was outside, I was shooting hoops. Like I would literally like there's like be times where like you're like, yeah, you're shooting 1,000 shots. Get up 1,000 shots. And let me tell you, like in high school, I was a great shooter. So and like just stuff like that, like people from the outside looking in, they're like judging you like, oh, are they pushing her too hard and stuff like that. And I do think that when you're a kid and you're a teenager, it might even strain the relationship because it's like, are you my dad or are you my coach? And it's hard to navigate the difference, right?
How did that affect you on and off the court?
I mean, we're good now. Like my dad's my biggest cheerleader, my champion and everything. Like,
he always was, but
it's tough love at the end of the day, but like, because he wanted to see us get scholarships and we did. So like it paid off. It's like was it King Richard, Selena?
Yeah.
Serena and Venus. Like it's when I watched it, I was like, that's my dad. Like there's like that's me and that's Oshie. Like and that's my dad.
Do you think there's another way to get the same result without being so negative, or I don't want to say negative, that's the wrong word to use, but like demonstrative?
No, I think well, it depends because everybody has a different journey in sports. I think sometimes people find a really great coach at a young age and they just somehow manage to stick together with that. But I think it's a mixture of having the support system around you, but also for you yourself to have that internal drive to want to be good and to want to get better. Because it wasn't just like per se my dad pushing me. Like I had a lot of motivation even growing up myself. There's been times where I felt like I was overshadowed or overlooked, because if anybody knows like my twin sister, they know she's actually a few inches taller than me, and people think that I'm tall. I'm like,
You are tall.
well,
Yeah.
until you meet my family.
Okay.
And then I'm the shortest one.
You're the shortest one in your family?
I'm the shortest one in my family.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so my basketball height was listed at 6'1", basketball height. and then my twin sister's basketball height was 6'4".
Damn.
And she's still playing professional right now overseas. So, you know, it's like, so when you walk into a gym and you see a woman that's 6'1", you're like, holy, yo, my guy, like, yo, that's crazy. And then right behind her comes a 6'4" girl. You're like, wait, what? I just saw a unicorn. And
I see some D1 athletes and,
yeah,
you know,
but 6'4" is a lot more uncommon than 6'1".
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And coordinated at that, you know?
Oh yeah, she was good. My twin was really good.
Yeah. Well,
So.
you mentioned a little earlier
Yeah.
about you going to TMU, which was the old Ryerson.
Yeah.
And you had scholarship offers as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you got injured.
Yeah.
You had multiple knee injuries.
Yeah.
What did that teach you about yourself at the time?
So my big one, actually, I had a knee injury in high school, but I still had offers regardless.
Okay.
So that was like cool because I recovered in time and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that was more like earlier in my high school career. That was like grade 9 or 10. And then, so yeah, by the time I got to grade 11, 12, like everything was fine. It was when I got to TMU, that's where like things changed because I was coming in as a, you know, I felt at least, and I'm sure my coach could probably say the same thing, as like a top recruit. Like they were really happy when they got me and everything. And I had this certain level of expectations for myself where I'm like, I got to come in. I got to be like basically the Scotty Barnes of the team. Like, you know, I got to come in and make a big splash right away.
Right.
And so I was like kind of figuring it out. It wasn't like the smoothest start, I think, in my basketball career. But then just as I was finding my footing, I was actually competing really well, blah, 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 injury. Right at
How'd you get hurt?
It was bad. I got hurt during a training camp, like over the Christmas period within my own team, like as a team practice.
As a practice.
Yeah.
And you tore your ACL.
You know what's funny? I tore everything but my ACL. I almost wish I tore my ACL just so I could say I did.
So MCL, PCL.
Everything was gone except for my ACL. It's like a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, that's very rare.
Yeah, and then but I had cartilage damage. I had bone chips that like floated from my tibia under my kneecap. Like it was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah, but somehow my ACL was fine.
Yeah, that's
It
pretty
was really weird.
pretty rare.
Like I had like the doctor gave me a document that was like 2 pages, like size 10 font, like double-sided of like everything that's wrong with your knee.
How did you deal with that mentally?
It was hard. Oh yeah, like I think I've told you this story before. Like
I know.
it was very, very tough. I always say it, like full-fledged. I was in situational depression, like 1,000%, like deep in it too.
Really?
Oh yeah, like
What year were you in school?
first year, coming in as a hot prospect, thinking that you're gonna own the stage or whatever, and then you get humbled right away.
So if you could have gone D1, why'd you pick TMU?
Because of the program for sport media
And
was
you knew
brand
you wanted
new.
to do that after.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to do since I was 16. Yeah,
Interesting.
I knew I wanted to be an NBA or sideline reporter since I was 16 years old, because I saw Sage Steele covering the NBA finals, and that was a woman that looked like me,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I had no idea that was even an option. And so yeah,
So you wanted to do that. You had situational depression,
yeah,
which I understand.
Yeah.
But if you knew you wanted to do that, like was it now easier for you to get out of your depressive state because you knew you had an end game?
Yes and no, because I feel like the sideline stuff, even though I knew I wanted to do that, it was more so I want to do that when I'm done playing basketball.
And when you choose to be done.
Exactly, which you never choose to be done.
No.
Athletes are not given the choice typically.
No.
So that was tough. But my first goal was actually like to hopefully like, you know, make it up into the professional leagues, maybe try to get on Team Canada, like go that route.
Why was that important to you?
Because my aunt was on Team Canada.
And you wanted to follow in her footsteps?
Yeah. But like more than that, I just wanted to do it for myself because why not? Don't you want to represent your country?
I did, yeah.
I know. Didn't you? Like, exactly.
No, definitely.
Doesn't everybody who plays a sport, like most of the time?
You could argue some, not
Well,
everyone
that's because
is
they're
that,
probably making a bag.
but because not everyone is that ambitious per se. You know, not everyone has those type of goals. So like, where did the motivation for you to go ahead and do that? And were you able to rehab from your first knee surgery?
Yeah, I mean, the ambition part first, like that just came from, I think I've always been a really ambitious person, like a really ambitious kid. I think my parents, both of them, you know, they're highly educated people. My mom's a doctor, my dad's in the education system, and they basically told me like from day one, there's nothing that you can't do. And like I mean that full-fledged hearted. Like I feel like I have so much confidence in that statement that what they instilled in my brain, I feel like I could have been an astronaut. Like no facts. Like I feel like if I woke
I'm not
up
laughing
one day,
at you. I just think that
how crazy they let us believe to them. And but I love that.
But it's not crazy.
But there's no limits. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I told my dad, like, yeah, well, I'm an NBA sideline reporter, I want to work in TV. He's like, cool, be the next Oprah. Like you could do it. Like it wasn't even like a maybe you should get an engineering or go into lawyer. Like no, it was like, great, you could be amazing Oprah someday. And I was like, cool. Like there was no hold back there. So that was cool. But in the second part of your question was how do I recover from that? Yeah, so I did recover. I did bounce back from the first one. You know how it is. You're never quite the same.
You didn't feel the same?
No. What, did you ever feel the same coming from a bad injury?
I did.
What was your worst injury?
Well, I'm not being interviewed. No, I'm joking. The worst one, physically or mentally?
Physically.
Achilles. Oh God.
You tore it completely?
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Snap that bitch. Gone. Yeah. Achilles.
Oh, we can swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
right knee first, Achilles second. Last was left knee. So I did it all.
And you've always recovered.
Always. That's why I was able to play.
Cap.
I swear to God.
You still felt like a 21-year-old after all that.
Come
Exactly.
on.
Exactly.
Not a 21-year-old. Not a 21-year-old. No, it does. But I mean, I felt.
After you blow an Achilles, after you like tear an ACL or do whatever, you are never quite the same. You feel the difference. Even now, I'm so far healed in like from back then, and I'm still feeling it from my personal training sessions that I have literally this morning or like whenever. I still feel like there's like I can't go down the stairs quite right. Like there's certain things.
You calling me a liar on my own.
I did.
It's crazy.
I did. Because I know it's Cap.
Well, no, I literally like my numbers are kind of remained the same. I was still wasn't the same player.
Exactly. You're performing at the same rate.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you've adjusted it up
physically though. No, I'm not.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Physically, you're never the same.
No, not quite. It's not identical.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
You can be better as a player.
Sure, you can get smarter. You can take more threes.
So after you were done playing, or after the injury, you were never the same. So you kept on playing. How long?
All 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any more injuries?
Yeah. I probably did the exact same thing in my third year. But this time it was actually in a competition, even though it's a friendly competition. But it was a rematch of our national finals. And so we played Saskatchewan. And those girls are very strong. Very strong.
How'd it happen?
Actually, you know the move where you pull the chair from under somebody who's overplaying you, like leaning on you too hard? That's what I did. And so naturally I'm thinking she's going to fall forward because she was leaning so hard on me. I did like a reverse spin to get open on the other side. This is on a post-up. And she overcompensated herself and threw herself back instead. And she was literally like, she probably had at least like 3 or 4 inches on me and probably like respectfully like a couple more pounds on me than like muscle, and I mean muscle, like that's what I'm saying, respectfully, like muscle pounds. Okay. Not waste more. So So she squashed me like a bug
on your knee,
right on the same knee that I got surgery on.
And what happened this time?
Destroyed again, like
everything, ACL, PCL.
Yeah, I think when I got the whole MRIs, the X-rays and stuff, there's probably some lingering damage from the first time, so it was like still 2 pages long. But this time they're like, yeah, so if you ever want to play at a high level seriously again, you're going to need to get screws in your knee at this point.
And like you said to that?
Well, you know the story, eh? no, I said no.
What about what I know?
But what they know.
I said no because my mom, like being the doctor that she was, like she was like, don't do it. Because I was like, I don't know. I kind of still want to play. She's like, this is where you make a decision. Do you really, really want to play?
Mm-hmm.
And then once the doctor even said, even if you get the surgery, you're still going to be prone to like premature arthritis.
Oh yeah.
And this is that. And then I had a tough conversation. I think my dad even talked a little bit. He's like, okay, there's like basketball and then there's life. Like, do you want to get premature arthritis when you're 25 years old? Because that's what the doctor told me. He's like, I'd be probably prone to it by 25. And then in retrospect, so I didn't get it. In retrospect, I'm happy because one of the assistant coaches, Brittany Donaldson, I talked to her because she actually had a very similar story to me with her knee injuries. And she got the stuff in her knee. And she said she regrets it. Like, she heavily regrets it because...
And you can't take it out.
You can't take it out. It's, well, not that I'm aware of. But it's like... She said she feels it. It's painful when it's winter time.
It changes.
It changes.
Yeah,
the
I feel
temperature,
that
the metal changes. You feel the metal in your body. I'm like, no thanks.
I don't have metal, but it just you feel it when when it gets cold, it gets hot. You do feel it a little bit.
Yeah, you go through an airport, you're always gonna be beeping. Like it's a little thing though. Like, you know.
Can you imagine you go to an airport beep?
Imagine you go to
it's my knee, chill, it's my knee.
Yeah, you go to a club and they're like, and like thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, everything changes, right? So I was like,
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
So after the second knee injury, which I can relate to, you made a decision to stop, essentially, to
I was still playing because that was my third year.
No, but after you graduated.
Yeah, my fourth year. Yeah. My fourth year, I literally told my coach, I'm like, yo, I just want to be healthy. I don't care. Like,
and you played?
I still played a little bit, but I was more like that, like veteran leader on the sidelines. I was like telling the young bucks what to do and stuff like that, but like still playing here and there a little bit. But I literally didn't want to get injured again because it was still fresh.
Right.
But yeah, so I stopped
mentally you were checked out?
I just knew my next step. That's what happened. Like that after the third one, I was like, because I had to make a decision of, are you going to play pro for real, or not? And so when I said no to the surgery, that's when I pretty much said, okay, like after this next year, it's a wrap. Like I'm done. So I could just be the best leader. I can be the best teammate I can be at this point.
And you knew your next step, and your next step was to get into broadcast media. Right?
Exactly.
So talk about that transition. How'd you mentally say, okay, I'm done playing, I graduate, now I'm into this? Was that a difficult process?
So actually, I got into that thought process during my first knee injury. Okay. Because the first time it kind of scares you, right? The first time you're like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting to be this hurt and be out for the rest of the season. Yeah. And so I got to do something with my time. And that's when I started like, okay, well, I have a whole degree that I'm working on called sport media. So let me just focus on that, I guess. And then I got voluntold, which is the best voluntold situation ever. So back when it was called CIS and not U Sports, TMU, aka Ryerson, was hosting the men's finals, like the national finals there, right?
When was it?
2014. Going to 2014-2015 season, I believe. Yeah. So they're hosting the national finals. And so leading up to it, they had some events to kind of get some hype. It's Toronto, so people were coming through the building. Like, this is Madden Athletic Center. And so they had a really big event, and they invited some NBA people, personalities, organizers throughout the league stuff. I was like, whoa, they got some big people for a U Sports like event at the end of the day, right? Anyways, and so I was depressed in my bed. Doing nothing. And like I got an email from like one of the organizers at TMU, and she was like, hey, we really need a volunteer to like work this green room, like, you know, where like all the people come through and like rest. Like, it'd be great if you could just literally stand by the door. I'm on crutches. And I was like, do I stay in my bed all night and just like be depressed and eat McDonald's, or do I just stand by a door and say hi to maybe some cool people? Okay, I guess I'll say hi. Like, so
on crutches.
On crutches. So I was on crutches. And the funny thing is that's where I met John Saunders. And like, no regrets at all, because he was amazing to me. And he sat me down. He saw me on crutches. He's like, oh, no. You sit down. I should be the one standing up. Like, and I was like, no, I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I was had a whole knee brace, everything.
Yeah. That was funny. I remember that final.
Yeah.
Was Otto versus Carlton.
Yeah.
I showed up on crutches too. because I just tore my Achilles. So we're both on crutches.
We're both on crutches.
I didn't know you back then. So.
No.
Yeah, that's
Also, you're probably, because you were in crutches in March. I was in crutches in December. So.
February, March, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Funny.
Interesting. Yeah. Injury. So anyway, so I sat down, talked to him. He was super inspirational. Just like keep going, basically. He had a kid that was also playing hockey at TMU at the time too, so that was kind of cool. And then I met Leo.
Routens?
Routens.
We know him.
Yeah, talked to Leo there.
What did he tell you?
Honestly, to be quite honest, it was so long ago, I don't remember. It was so long ago, I don't remember the details. I remember he was just cool. And then one of my family friends, Dana McKeel, he was there. He knew my aunts. He knew everything, my backstory in terms of like my family's playing career. And then he introduced me to Akil. Mm-hmm. And that was the key. So
for you to get in the door and become a producer.
Well, yeah, because Akil, like, he gave me his contact information. I said, yo, I'm a big fan. I watch MATV Canada. I watch The Hangout, blah, blah, blah.
Shout out to Akil.
Yeah, I love Akil. And then, and then he, 6 months later at second year university, I had a job shadow opportunity, hit up Akil, being like, can I shadow you? Because, like, I think you're pretty cool. And then he's like, yeah, no problem, come through. And then I shadow him. And sure enough, like, it was rap. I just said, like, listen, I loved being on set so much. Like, I will work for free. Which you can't say that now because that's technically illegal. But back then, there was such thing as unpaid internships. And so
It still is in some places. Maybe.
I think they're, for the most part, they should be paid. I'm pretty sure. But I said, I'll work for free. I don't care. Like, I'll mop the floors. Like, I don't care. I literally don't care. Let me just be around TV. Let me understand this space. Because I have to put my energy somewhere because it can't be the basketball court right now. And so then,
So for you, that was a transition. You shifted your energy from one thing.
So yeah, because I had a whole 9 months of recovery and I had to do something.
Yeah.
Other than school.
Yeah. So so quote unquote, you never really got to make it as a pro. You know what I mean? Playing the WNBA, you never got to do any of those things. Do you think in your mind now that doing sideline reporting for the Raptors is your way of making it because you're the closest you're ever going to be to the NBA? You're on the damn floor. So
unfortunately, due to the fact that I was born a woman, I never had a chance at the NBA. Maybe I could have been sick and just like, you have to take me to the league. Like, that's disrespect to the WNBA because WNBA is stupid talented.
Okay, so sorry, the WNBA then.
Yeah.
Right. Is this your way of making it?
You know what's funny? I live vicariously through my twin, who's playing professional still, like, to this day. So I don't feel like it's like an itch to scratch or anything. I feel like I see what she goes through. I do not miss the morning practices whatsoever. I don't miss like early morning, like
shoot around, walk through and scouting,
film, weights, hill runs, like you name it. Like, oh yeah, we had intense training. And then, but yeah, so I don't miss that at all. But the closest to this, I mean, I've always liked storytelling and I've always loved basketball. So let's marry the two. So I don't see it as like, oh, I can't be on the floor, so I gotta be closest to the floor. I don't see it as that. I feel like I've had my time. I've had my career.
Yeah.
Didn't go as planned, but like I'm fine with it. I'm at peace with it. And now let me see if I can amplify stories and get the human side of the athletes out better because people only see them as athletes typically.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Which is quite the reason why you're here. It's because you want to talk about that. And you're not an athlete per se anymore, and neither am I. But when you stop playing, it's really hard for, I don't want to say people take you seriously, but it's hard for you to get opportunity and hard for you to develop some sort of career, especially if you don't have time.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, really important to go ahead and tell people like your story and talk about how where you are now and how you've gotten here and when you stopped playing and your mentality during that time.
I think that, like, we've talked about this before. I feel like a lot of athletes don't know like the next step after they're done playing.
Well, how can you? You're so focused on what you're doing.
You're so focused. And also I feel like sometimes you're not told. Like, people don't tell you what's next. Like there's not a whole lot of support in that regard. Like,
and what do you even want to do? Like if I find something that I'm passionate about, what would I even want to do when I'm done playing?
Right.
And I think about that. And
I think even like, for example, like broadcast, which we're in, is it can feel so distant to when you're on the floor. Like, oh, they're doing their thing over there, but I don't even understand what that world is. Like, I don't even know how to get into that world. I don't know who to talk to in that world, because you can't even, like, you could talk to the on-air people because you see them, but they're not the people who are hiring.
No, that's so true. That's a good point.
Like,
Very good point. Yeah.
like you can ask them for help, they'll take you for coffee. They can't technically get you a job.
No.
Like,
No. And people think that's how it works. Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Big time. A lot of athletes will describe this feeling of like a loss of identity, especially when they're done, playing. Do you think you've experienced that or went through anything sort of like it?
Yeah, like in my first year, like that first injury, that was the identity crisis, because it kind of like warps your world of like, whoa, this is such a bad injury. I'm out for the season.
Yeah.
Season barely just started.
I'm never going to be the same.
I'm never going to be this. You are not going to be the same, okay? That's a fact. You can be in denial all you want. I'm just going to call cap for the audience.
I guess I am still in
for the listeners.
But I'm never going to be the same. Go on, yeah.
But you're never going to quite be the same. You can like do your best to rehab, whatever. And I had a really great second year university. Like I played really, really well.
Okay.
But yeah, just like you kind of come to terms of like, well, what if basketball is not in my future?
And that's the first time it really clicks in. It's like, like this isn't forever.
Exactly.
Like, because I'm not going to be the same again.
Yeah.
I'm shortened in my career now.
You get back down to earth almost. Yeah. You get humbled. Like,
yeah, no, you do. You get humbled. You get humbled.
Yeah.
But what if that never happens? And the humbling comes at the end of the career and everything went perfect for you. What if you had a Michael Jordan career, never got hurt? Well, he did get hurt, but nothing seriously.
Yeah.
And then you stop. Like, do you think, or a better question would be, have you recognized other people that have had a loss of identity and still haven't been able to recover?
Yeah. It's interesting when I see something like that, because it's not that they have a loss of identity per se or haven't been able to recover. I think there's people that we see even NBA guys that they're pushing it. They're playing overseas and hey, get your bag. Like, I'm not here to stop your money.
It's not always a bag either.
But sometimes it's not even about the bag. It's about the fact that they just don't want to
let it go
on to real life. Like,
real life is
there's
scary.
still real life, exactly.
Yeah.
But people, when it's all you don't know that there's an other side. That's actually pretty dope. Like, that's why I have so much respect for Kobe and what he did off the court when he was done, because he threw all of his energy into dear basketball and his daughters, and like he just knew that there was more to life, which actually makes the loss, I think, even that more tragic, because he wasn't one of those guys who are just hanging on for dear life. Like, no, he let it go. He still was a great player when he let it go. And he threw all that energy and passion just back into other things of life. And so, but people don't know that you can do that. People don't know that you can get passionate about something else the same way, and that there's translatable skills from the sport that you're in into whatever career you want to go in. Or you can be an entrepreneur, start a business. Like, you have the discipline to, trust me. Like, I try to tell this to like my twin sister all the time too. I'm like, don't feel like you gotta, because she's she's worried about that balance between, well, I'm playing professional, but like when do I take my career seriously? Because she has a master's in marketing, but you still need some work experience. And I'm like, what's stopping you from just making your own company? There, create your own experience. Like, like people, but athletes don't know that they can just, choose your own adventure.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Choose your own adventure. You talked a little bit about you having, after your first year, a loss of identity, but did you put pressure on yourself to know exactly what you wanted to do next right away? Like, you were like, listen, okay, I may not hoop anymore, but I'm gonna get into media today because I have to figure this out. I can't be stagnant.
Yeah, that was definitely me. I'd be happy stagnant. No, but I think honestly, my siblings and some of my friends have called me a shark, and the fact that like when a shark stops swimming, it dies. Like, I can't stop swimming. I have to keep on going. Yeah. So I resonate with that, because like during that injury time, I started a radio show on campus.
Oh, wow. What was it about?
I was called Origins, and I interviewed people, media members, and what their origin story was, like how they got into it, what their journey was.
Why'd you stop?
Because I was using it as a networking tool. I was just really wanting to get like professionals in the business to come talk to me about their journey.
That's
just so they could tell me more about themselves, and then people love to talk about themselves the way that I'm loving talking about myself today. So, you gain some brownie points.
Do you think there's a lack of support for people like yourself who get injured or Because listen, you're going to stop two ways, either by force or by choice. So when you're done, do you think there's a lack of support in terms of what people are going to do next with their life? Because if they don't know, then they're kind of left to figure it out on their own, which is where I was, which is why I'm doing this,
Which is why you're a broadcaster?
No, which is why I'm talking to you about this, so that other people can learn about there's more. But yeah, part of why I'm a broadcaster, for sure. It's the one thing that came my way, so I took it and ran with it. Exactly.
That's the beautiful thing, because that's not always the case. Like, not everybody is offered a broadcasting role when their career's done. So it's kind of like not an easy step, because there's a lot to learn in broadcast, but like it's a step that makes sense for a lot of athletes, because like, hey, you like being around the game, you like talking about the game, like get paid to.
Dwayne Watson, that's how I got my start.
See?
Akil's boy, that's how I got my start.
I know, Dwayne was my mentor. Dwayne
all the time
led me through this industry.
What do you think we can do as a society to help other people that may watch this, athletes? What can we do to ease their level of transition?
Well, I think it's important as athletes who've been through the transition to then reach back and help young athletes that are towards the end of their careers, and create platforms and spaces, and maybe go out and talk to them and be like, yeah, here's the transitional steps. Here's the next steps. Let's explore your interests. Like, let's take it back to like your even like primary interests. Like, do you like art? Do you like engineering? Do you like TV? Do you like you can go healthcare, you can go so many different directions. What did you get your degree in? Do you like your degree? Be serious. Like, or did you, no listen,
and people say,
like, did you just get a generic business degree because you thought that was the easiest,
basically,
or like a liberal arts?
I did school so that my mom would be happy.
See,
that's really
exactly that's a lot of athletes.
I knew what I was doing. I was going overseas. I knew that.
See, so school's like, back burner, like I'll get my degree just so I could play, and then whatever happens after that, I don't care. But like, so when you're in those transitional spaces, you gotta be like, okay, wait, like, what do I actually want to do? And like, so I think it helps it when like there's people. I know Tristan is over here sitting behind the scenes, and like he's one of them. Like he actually helps. He works in that space of like youth sports and young athletes and navigating that transition.
Shout out Team Ross.
Yeah, yo.
Ross, Justin Timberlake, my dog.
Timberlake. That's a backstory right there. That's a backstory.
That's my boy.
Somebody flakes.
Bro, we gotta keep that.
Shout out to you. That's my little brother. I love that guy.
This is something I ask everybody. What do you think from the time you started playing and you got injured to now? What do you think you've lost, and what do you think you've gained?
I have a hard time like answering the loss thing, because I just have like literally no regrets in life. So like, it sounds so cheesy, but everything I've lost was either a lesson or a door closed to redirect me to the right one. Like, I don't know, like I'm a spiritual person, so I really don't see it as a loss at all.
So what have you gained?
Yeah, so I gained, I think, a great perspective on the game, actually. Because when you're sitting out, you're watching the game with a different mindset, being like, I wish I was out there. I was at the screen, like, oh,
yeah.
You know, you're like biting your tongue, but when your teammate gets like, hey, girl, when you see the screen out there, make sure you get around it. We're doing a drop, so like make sure you or bump the player. You're not bumping the cutter. That's why she's getting an open layup. Like, like, so then you start talking about the game to your teammates, and then how that has transitioned for me in TV is like now I'm just talking about the game to an audience, of just telling you what I see. So, so I've gained perspective of the game that way. I think also I've just gained so many great friends, people in my life that have really shaped and molded who I was and am, and like continue to do so. I feel like I've grown so much as a person, as an individual. I definitely wasn't the same young Sav when I was a producer to where I am now.
Hell no, we know that. You walk in here with a whole lot of swag and energy.
Yo, I stopped caring near as much of what people think. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. Like,
do you think basketball helped you get there?
Basketball helped me a little, get there, but definitely I think there's also being on air and being in like in a TV position. Like, you can't fake yourself. Like, people, your audience,
by that?
Like the camera reads it. Like audiences can tell when you're being fake. So like people can tell when you're not comfortable. So, people can tell when you're not being convincing in what you're saying. Like, so you got to be.
If you don't believe what
you're saying, then they're not going to believe what you're saying. Yeah. So like, you better be comfortable with everything that you represent. you stand for. I think a lot of people will challenge you, want to know your opinions on things, and you better have an opinion on almost everything. And that first, like, I remember when I first got into it, I was very shaky and like, oh, I don't know if I want to speak up. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never really, like, I don't think people ever cared about, like, my opinions. And now I'm like, yeah, now let me tell you something. Like, I'll give you my unfiltered thoughts. Like, just, I don't know. So I think I've just become, like, way more comfortable in my skin. And that's been a process. And, you know, it's been, quite the journey, actually.
Would you agree that even though you're not an athlete anymore, we're still always competing? Like you're still competing just on the sideline now.
It's always, the competition's always just been with myself though.
Okay.
Like I would say, yeah, but like even when you're an athlete, what are you doing when you're practicing by yourself?
You're competing with yourself.
Exactly.
So what games do you play with yourself now? How do you compete with yourself now?
How do I compete with myself with games? Can I do a hit as clean as possible? Can I make it as concise as possible? How do I deliver this message or this story in the way that still captures the story, but in the least amount of words, which is a very tough task. There's a quote, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like they say it's harder to tell a story with less words than it is to have a long story written out. Like it's really difficult. So it can be something that's intricate in 30 seconds, you know? So that's kind of been like the games I play with myself. If I read a news article, actually, that's what I do. I'll read a news article, Raptors, not Raptors, whatever. And then I ask myself, because maybe it's like 1,000 words or longer. And I ask myself, can I summarize this right now and say it without a hiccup in 30 seconds? Those are the type of thing I like compete with myself with. And I've gotten better over the summer because I've been doing that a lot over the summer. Yeah.
Are you ready for this upcoming season?
Yeah.
Excited?
I'm excited. I'm pumped. This is going to be a good season.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. But on the subject of transition, why is, like, to you, why is this subject important? Why do you think it's important for other people to go ahead and talk about this? Because it's not really talked about. You know, my thought process was like, shut up, you didn't make it. It's okay. Like, you know, like, it's no, like, it's fine. Like,
on yourself, yo.
Like, we didn't make it. So why do people care about our opinion on this topic? Like, there is so much life after sport, but like, why is it important to you to be here and talk about this?
I think coming as a woman, first and foremost, is that, first of all, not everybody makes it. And those who do make it, they're busy making it. They can't talk about it because they're busy training about it. But like having been teammates with actually a lot of the players on the Canadian national team right now, I could tell you what they're thinking. I could tell you, like, you know, the style of play that I've seen them all grow into and stuff like that too. So it's kind of a cool position to be in. But yeah, transition is so important because it's your life. Like when you hang up the basketball shoes, like,
or any discipline,
it is your life. Like your next steps. And like I like the motto of like, just don't, like, live a life where you don't really need a vacation from. Like, don't get me wrong, breaks are good.
I still need a vacation.
You still need out. Breaks are good. Like, I love going to, like, St. Martin, Jamaica. I love going to the island.
I've seen.
We've all seen.
Yeah.
But, like, the gram, it's a gram. But,
to mute her during those times.
It's not that bad. Okay,
Wow,
chill.
Here in the cold,
It's tasteful. It's tasteful vacation pics of palm trees and alcohol that I'm drinking on the beach and maybe books that I'm reading. Yeah. You gotta be comfortable in your own skin, yo. Say your truth.
Hey, man.
I call cap on you anytime. So I'm like, you're not being honest.
I had some shots before we came here.
You did?
No, I'm joking. I was
gonna say.
I'm joking. No.
It's called alcohol. That's called.
I'm playing. I'm
watching you. What was that smell? I smell.
No, not at all. Do you think with social media, with the presence? I know from like the older generation, it's a bit easier because when you're done, no one cares. No one's checking your, you know what I mean, like your profile page to see, you know, like what's going on in your life.
But when you're done what?
When you're done doing anything, when you're done playing basketball specifically.
Sure, yeah.
Do you think with social media, everything that we've discussed so far, so loss of identity, loss of structure, all these different things, do you think they become more amplified with social media? Because if you've been posting your clips of you dunking, you doing all these amazing things, and then one day it stops, then what? It's like, oh, what is he doing now? He fell off the face of the earth. You haven't posted in 4 years.
Yeah.
Just
failure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, it's easy to think that.
Yeah.
I in my own career, I felt I was a failure. I literally did for a long time, like 2 years. Like I was like, I wasn't successful.
Yeah.
So do you think those things are amplified now because essentially you have a platform where everyone can watch?
Yeah, everyone can watch, everyone can judge. And
Silently judge.
Silently judge. I think I've told you, I cannot stand Instagram. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it for so many reasons. But
Saint Martin when you're there.
well, that's different. That's just vibes, yo. That's just vibes.
But I mean, social media as a whole.
Yeah, no, I don't like social media as a whole. Like I'm on social media because I have to be for my career.
Brand.
It's your brand, because really, if it was up to me, I just like to tell stories and play and watch basketball and talk basketball.
So I'm saying.
But we're in a society where you have to be on social. You basically have to self-promote, which I don't like self-promoting, because like, let my work speak for itself. Like this is something that as a player, I let my game talk. You know, like why would I need to talk about myself or like really post that much about myself if I'm just gonna still drop 50 on you? Like, you know.
But if you're no longer in the game,
if you're no longer there,
how does your game talk? And now it's just you speaking.
And now it's just you speaking, or like you having to show people that you're still relevant or that you're still out here doing things or whatever.
But relevance is mental anguish.
Yeah, it can be.
Trying to be relevant all the time is mentally draining.
But for me, I don't. To be quite honest, like you're talking to the wrong person. I don't care.
No, I get that.
I don't care because for me, I'm posting anything that's authentic. That's why you're getting the St. Martin pics, because I love being down in the islands, okay?
Right.
But like at the same time, like when it's game time, you also see me posting just as much, if not more, work pictures. In fact, people are telling me, yo, Sav, you post way too much work pictures. But I'm like, but authentically, that's my life.
Yeah.
Like everything, if I'm posting work pictures, is probably because I've been working for like the past 5 months straight. Like, so yeah, no, I'm not really going out with my friends right now, nor do I really care to show that element of my life.
But other athletes, do you think they may not have the same approach you have, where you don't care about that stuff, and that's fine?
Yeah, because
I'm the same way.
It's bad. Like mental health right now is bad. This is awful with this whole social media stuff. Like especially as athletes, and now you get the NIL stuff, right? How's that?
Name, image, and likeness.
Name, image, like, and the bigger your following is, you could be like technically on the court, you might play 2 minutes a game, but you have a 50,000 K following. And you're going to get an NIL deal because like, oh, but she knows how to do a TikTok dance, or he knows how to do a TikTok dance, like, or whatever, right?
So all the feelings of like you being important and you being put on a pedestal as an athlete are now amplified. And then you stop playing, social media still exists, so you're still amplified. You're still trying to fit into that realm that maybe you are important or whatever.
And people have to change their perception of what your identity was to them too, because God forbid we're multifaceted human beings that have other interests than just playing one thing.
That's right. But in your own mind, do you think that's hard to do, or is that an easy process?
So it's hard to do. I think if you're an athlete and that's all you know, and then you love this game and whatever, like it would be hard to like all of a sudden like, you know, switch off and guys, I'm just doing nothing now. Like I'm on my couch now. Like
but
that would be because we probably didn't think about the transition step. Because I see athletes at the same time. I went to like university with a really smart engineer that was playing volleyball, and you know, after volleyball was done, he got into modeling. He has an engineer degree. So he's an engineer. I think he's working for like city of Toronto doing like some sort of city planning, design, whatever stuff. And he's super successful, and he's like not afraid to post that. Even when he was in school as a student athlete, he was doing tutoring, like, and stuff. He was posting the tutoring. So I think the best transitions happen when you're still an athlete. Like post your hobbies when you're still an athlete. So the time that you're not an athlete,
when you're relevant,
when you're relevant, sure, exactly. By the time you're not an athlete anymore, people know that you have other interests. So it's like, oh, maybe she put the basketball thing away, but I already know that Savanna, you know, she loves to read books. She loves to go traveling. She loves her family. Like she always posts about that other stuff too. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a transition piece on the social side that should happen authentically, because you should just be posting for authenticity and not for followers. Mm-hmm. But that would make it easier. But otherwise, we live in a society that's driven by followers, and followers equals money. So it's tough.
It is, man. Yeah. You mentioned your family and talked about your sister earlier, 6'4" pro sister, twin sister.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming when she was 23 or, you know, younger, or 21, everyone's like, yo, go chase your dreams. This is amazing. You're going to be a pro. You're going to go overseas.
And then when you get a little older, the conversation turns a little, it tweaks.
It slowly starts to tweak a little
bit different.
Yeah.
What are the conversations you had with her then, and what are you talking to her about now? You obviously mentioned that, you know, she's now thinking about transitioning. So
Yeah.
what advice are you offering?
So it's interesting because I think when you're 23, as you mentioned, like I was like, just go chase your dreams, play to your heart's desire, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about the future. You're fine, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to like, you know, I think I'm turning 28 tomorrow.
Hey.
And you get to 28.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I mean, by the time you release this podcast, it's probably past my birthday.
Well, let's not talk about that.
The technicalities. But I'm still a producer. Anyway, but yeah, so, and, you know, the conversation changes because she's thinking like, yeah, like what's next in my career? I've kind of gone through my 20s and there's no industry experience yet. And she has so many cool like interests and hobbies and stuff like that. So she's already very multifaceted. But yeah, I think that's the battle that a lot of athletes have in their head. At what point do you put down the shoes and pick up, you know,
Life.
or the business suit or life, whatever it is? I've told her, my advice to her has been keep playing because your body's never going to be this young again, and keep playing until the wheels fall off. Honestly, don't worry about the life stuff. It'll happen when it happens. She's healthy. Like she has, you know, a great couple more years, if not like more than that for basketball for her career. She's like literally playing in a great league right now that has WNBA players playing in it. And she's at the highest that she's ever played professionally overseas that she's ever played in. So I'm like, and her next step is even going to be bigger. I'm just keep going. Like, don't worry about the business stuff. It'll find you. And not to mention, like, I always tell her, like, you know, if I could help you when that transitional step comes, I will be there full-fledged to help you with that too. Like, let's get you in front of the hiring people. Let's see where we could plug you. And, you know, we have a great family and a great support network that, like, I'm not worried about her finding opportunities when she's done playing. It's not like that for everybody, of course, but like, you know, I think when you are an athlete, you start to build people, like get to know, because you still meet a lot of people when you're an athlete. Get to know them, get to understand what they're doing. Take them for a coffee meeting, you know, like even if you're not stopping playing anytime soon, but at least like that name face value is there. So initial context there. And then, hey, maybe that person becomes a fan of your game, watches your career a little bit. Then when you're done playing, you could circle back and be like, hey, like, remember me? We had coffee. And then be like, oh yeah, like, do you mind if I like pick your brain like a little bit about like the industry now? And then that's kind of how those transitional steps, and it doesn't happen overnight because jobs don't come overnight these days. But, you know, it's those steps that you take when you're still an athlete that pay off when you're not an athlete anymore.
When she comes back home in the summertime, if she does, do you do any of those things? Do you guys go out and reach out to people? And is she setting herself up for success when she is done?
Oh yeah. She's worked, like, she's done event marketing. She's done a few things now. She's done sales. So she does have a little bit of experience for like her industry already. She just wants to have more, but that balance of you're still a professional athlete versus you're not like fully working in the industry yet. Like, just focus on being a professional athlete still while you can.
Right. One of the final questions: Where do you want to go with your own career?
As far as I can go. Like, yeah. I mean, I feel like I keep a very open mind. Okay. I love what I'm doing right now. Like, I actually am totally like, this is the dream job for me. Mm-hmm. So, you know, from here it's just expanding my platform, my reach, and impacting others. And that's something that actually I'm working on right now is how can I give back to basketball? Because even though I'm not 100% satisfied with my basketball playing career, basketball has still given me so much.
Yes, it has.
And I feel like for me, like something that really resonates with me personally is the fact that it breaks my heart that women, like girls, drop out of sports between the ages of 12 to 15, like the highest rates. Like it's over like 2/3 of the population of girls that were playing sports drop out. So
why?
That's a whole different podcast. That's a whole different podcast. Okay. But like, that's an area that I would like to like address and like see if I could have any impact there, because I think that girls need to know that like playing sports is awesome and it's just as fun and feminine and anything. Like, you look at these WNBA players and they're also modeling and they're just beautiful people inside and out. They're sweating it all out on the court, but then they're taking it back to their individual lives and starting their own podcasts and stuff. Like, you could be a role model, you know, it's not just about, you know, I don't know what they do, like go to the mall with their friends, like what most kids do, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the drop off there is something that I would like to address for sure.
And you mentioned on an article how important it is for young Black women to see, you know, you on television and aspire to be like you. Why is that so important for you?
Because that's how it happened for me. Because I saw Sage Steele, and she's a little bit of a controversial figure now with her opinions. She's kind of she's like a bit more right winged, but I didn't know that at the time.
Okay.
But just her visual representation opened my mind to like being like, oh crap, I didn't know I can do this. That's crazy. So if I can be that for like young women, people who look like me, people who even don't look like me but are also a minority, like, whoa, a minority woman doing this? That's crazy. Like, like I would like to be that for somebody else. And so I remind myself, because, you know, we all have bad shows, bad days, bad work days, and I remind myself on those worst days that I'm like, yeah, well, at the very least, like there's probably somebody out there seeing me and being like, well, she looks like me and she's doing something pretty cool. So I hope that inspires them.
What does the phrase "use basketball, don't let it use you" mean to you?
That's my quote, yo. I feel like I told you that. I told you that one.
Well researched.
Don't, yeah. Yeah, at least I know you're a good listener.
I don't know. I'm not taking any credit to say it.
Yeah. Sure. You use basketball, don't let basketball use you. I can't even take credit because I've been hearing that like from the time I started playing. Like my dad told me that you use basketball, don't let basketball use you.
You think you've done that?
Yeah, yeah. You think I've done that?
I think you have.
Thank you.
I think you have. I think you done a phenomenal job.
Thank you. It just means to make the most out of the sport while you are still able to, and leverage the opportunities that it gives you via traveling the world. I could say I went coast to coast in Canada. I've explored pretty much, actually, when I really think about it, outside of Mexico, like the entire, like North America, entire continent. Because of basketball, both in my career now and because of my playing days. And it's kind of pretty cool to say that, because not many people have that opportunity.
No. It's very, very unique.
And then you get the spotlight on you, because when you're a good athlete, people like to pay attention to what you do off the court as well. So you can do something. You see guys that have clothing lines in the NBA, or like,
Of course.
you know, guys that start podcasts, women that start podcasts when they're still playing, and like that's using basketball. That's taking a spotlight and saying, hey, look what else I can do. And it can also get me education. It can get me like a travel experience. It can give me so many different avenues that you can honestly name. Money now, NIL, especially in college.
Are you gonna do your own show? Do you have aspirations to, you know, create, like, you know how to do it all? You've been behind the camera, in front of the camera. Are you gonna go ahead and tap into that yourself and, you know, create your own brand per se?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. But yes.
You don't have to give any details.
I'm not gonna give you the whole spiel. But yeah, no, that's what I've been working on. That's been a work in progress. Especially now, I'm very comfortable. I'm entering my second year working with Sportsnet. So, you know, I'm just now first year just learning everything, taking it all in. And then second year, what?
I just subtly. Just like,
What? Stop this. You work with TSN.
Hey, man, what
Get
is
out
that
of here.
about me?
We're enemies.
this isn't about me today.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, now it's about like just expanding the brand, giving back.
Okay. Beautiful. I want to play final game. It's called 4-3. You know, no pun intended. For three, but you can answer the final questions in a sentence or one word.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's either a statement or a question. First one, ready to play?
Yeah.
Basketball is
not life.
Bars. Shit. When you hear the name "You Only Die Twice," what do you think of?
An athlete.
Savanna Hamilton's legacy will be
somebody who used storytelling to impact change.
Bang!
Like that.
There we have it. Savanna Hamilton.
Like I said, I saw you. I met you when you were younger. Happy birthday, early birthday for tomorrow. But I've
belated by the time this comes out.
Fair. I've seen your progression, And to see you go from producer to in front of the camera, to I was there watching you your first year on sideline. I saw how dedicated you were to things, which is why I asked you to be here today, is because I really admire, even doing this, like the preparation that goes into it, that, you know what, no one's going to see. Sometimes I walk by you in set and like you're just scribbling your notes. You're going to you're so focused on what you're doing. Yeah. I admire that so much, because you're taking what you learned as a young kid, as an athlete, and you're putting it into something else. And that's exactly what we're trying to get other people to do. And that's why I wanted to do this. So I'm proud of you. I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here today.
You said so many nice things. Jeez, I should come on more often. Feel good about myself.
Hey, if you like this podcast, it would mean the most to me and our team if you could like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.